Welcome to the new session of The Hindu today. Today we are having an editorial from The Hindu of 6th of August. So this is the first article that we will be discussing, and this article is not just about the 16th Finance Commission as such. It is actually a debate about the philosophy of fiscal federalism in India. So understand this way. First thing, there are two core issues, like two core functions or two core mechanisms, you can say. First thing is what actually finance commission is entrusted to do. The first thing is efficiency and fiscal discipline. Either you reward it, right? Second one is disadvantaged estate. Either you support the disadvantaged estates, or you reward efficiency and fiscal discipline among the estates and also among union and also to union. So these are the two core, you can say, contrasting issues or contrasting objectives of finance commission that is being discussed in this article. The core argument is that the finance commission is a constitutionally designed as an equalizing institution. Here it says that the commission's central mandate was to safeguard the interest of the states and thereby preserve a strong union. That means that you are constitutionally designed as an equalizing institution, not just an allocator of tax revenues. Like what we understand about finance commission these days, that it just allocates the taxes or revenues from the union to the states or among the states. But this article says that it is not, finance commission is not merely an allocator of tax revenues. Its function goes beyond that. First thing first, we should understand what is this finance commission. What is this finance commission? So you all know that it is constituted under Article 280 every 5 years. Okay, हर 5 साल पे इसका constitution होता है, ये बनाया जाता है. Very important thing is what are the functions? Functions क्या हैं finance commission के? Because ultimately we usually get confused around this, and actually question is also basically can be framed around it. The first function is to recommend how taxes, central taxes can be shared with the state. How these taxes can be shared with the states. Second function is recommend grants in aid, like some kind of assistance which is given as a grant, like states need not return it to the union. Third function is strengthen fiscal federalism. And the fourth function, core function, is interstate. What kind of disparities are among the states, that inequality or disparity that needs to be reduced, इसको reduce करना है. So basically ये 4 core functions हैं which are being discussed in this article, और ये actually very सही भी है बहुत हद तक. और ये मतलब इन 4 functions के आसपास ही around these core 4 functions you need to understand how finance commission functions, how finance commission has evolved. अब सेंटर का जो टैक्स है उसको स्टेट्स के बीच में शेयर करना, दैट इज़ अ वेरी कॉमन, वो आपको सबको पता है, ग्रांट सेनेट भी पता है. अब यहाँ पे द न्यूज़ इज, द इशू इज अबाउट 16th फाइनेंस कमीशन. 16th फाइनेंस कमीशन अपना रिकमेंडेशन रिसेंटली सबमिट कराया है, एंड इट वॉज चेयर्ड बाई अरविंद पनगड़िया. So it was chaired by Arvind Panagadia. This fact you should understand. Its recommendation will cover the period of 2026 to 31, ये 5 साल पीरियड के लिए इसके रिकमेंडेशंस वैलिड होंगे. तो दीज आर सम कोर वेरी बेसिक फैक्ट्स जो आपके एग्जाम में पूछे जा सकते हैं, आपको ये पता होना चाहिए. नाउ वी विल कम टू what this article is all about, what it is actually talking about. बट उसके पहले फिर भी एक चीज़ और हमें समझने की ज़रूरत है, दैट इज़ ग्रांट्स इन एड. सो दिस ग्रांट्स इन एड, इसको आप ऐसे समझिए कि जो भी दिस फर्स्ट फंक्शन इट हैपन्स एज पर अ फॉर्मूला, राइट. सेंटर से स्टेट्स के बीच में टैक्सेस कैसे शेयर होंगे, हाउ टू शेयर द टैक्सेस फ्रॉम द सेंटर टू द स्टेट्स, दिस इज डिसाइडेड बेस्ड ऑन सम फॉर्मूला, and that formula is defined and decided or delineated by the Finance Commission recommendations. But these formulas actually capture every state, cannot capture every state's unique circumstances. हर स्टेट की अपनी अपनी रिक्वायरमेंट है. कोई स्टेट डिसएडवांटेज्ड है, कोई स्टेट फाइनेंशियली बहुत स्ट्रांग है. बट फार्मूला को अगर हम अप्लाई करेंगे तो दैट फार्मूला गेट्स अप्लाइड यूनिफॉर्मली अक्रॉस द स्टेट्स. बट देयर आर स्टेट्स विच नीड सम कोर असिस्टेंस, सम बेसिक असिस्टेंस, और उसके लिए एडिशनल ट्रांसफर इज रिक्वायर्ड. So this grants in aid is some kind of additional transfer from the center to the states depending on some criteria, like कि उस स्टेट की क्या ज़रूरतें हैं, उस स्टेट ने क्या डिसएडवांटेज है. We will learn in a while. तो understand this way, this article actually gives two very good examples. First example it gives of Kerala. It says that Kerala has an export-oriented human capital development strategy. Kerala has invested a lot in its human development and education, and it's like population, a good amount of people, good number of people from Kerala have like migrated to other countries, and today Kerala contributes nearly 23% of India's total remittances. Like whatever remittances are coming to India from outside world, nearly 23% is being contributed by Kerala alone. Now, those remittances are like strengthening the country's external sector. Remittances are coming. Those remittances are not just for Kerala. Those remittances, the money is flowing into the country in India. So overall, India's forex reserves or like all the other parameters related to external sector, they get strengthened. But to build such a human capital, Kerala has invested a lot. So have we even considered that we should be compensating Kerala properly, because the administration there has like worked a lot to build a very strong human development system. So likewise, there is another example. It talks about Punjab. It has played a critical role in ensuring national food security. Very much true. Agriculture sector in Punjab has like helped a lot, but at the cost of its revenue base. Because agriculture is not taxable. Like wheat and rice, Punjab has produced a lot, but these are non-taxable. And also Punjab is a border state. So Punjab has contributed to Indian economy a lot, but has Indian economy compensated for the losses these states like Punjab and Kerala have like incurred, losses they have incurred in lieu of like supporting the overall Indian economy. So these are some basic examples you can say which argues that considering the special conditions, situations, disadvantaged status, there has to be some grants in aid so that central government can support the states depending on कि उन्होंने क्या contribute किया, उनकी requirements क्या है, उसके आधार पे. Now this FC, now we will come to what this 16th FC has recommended. So its recommendations or how it like has changed, we will look into it. So first thing is that tax devolution. The first tax devolution, the first one, devolution of central pool taxes. This remains same, nearly 41%. That means whatever the taxes the central government has accumulated, like the only those taxes which are like under the legal or constitutional provisions, the taxes which are allowed to be shared with the state, whatever the kitty has accumulated, out of that 41% need to be shared with the states. 41% need to be shared with the states. मतलब सपोज कीजिए कि there are 100 rupees in the डिस्पोजेबल जो टैक्स का जो सपोज कीजिए कि बॉक्स है जिसमें जो भी सेंट्रल गवर्नमेंट टैक्सेस कलेक्ट कर रही है उसको सारे टैक्सेस को उस बॉक्स में रख रही है कि ये सारे जो टैक्सेस हैं ये हम स्टेट गवर्नमेंट के साथ भी शेयर करेंगे. अगर उसमें 100 रुपीज़ हैं तो उसमें से जो 41 रुपीज़ हैं दैट शुड बी शेयर्ड विद द स्टेट्स. और स्टेट्स तो बहुत सारे हैं हमारे यहाँ. सो इट हैज़ टू बी शेयर्ड ऑन सम फॉर्मूला. किस स्टेट को कितना मिलना चाहिए, किस क्राइटेरिया पे मिलना चाहिए. दोज थिंग्स आर नॉट डिस्कस्ड इन इट, दोज आर पार्ट ऑफ योर स्टैटिक सिलेबस. सो टैक्स डिवोल्यूशन प्रीवियस फाइनेंस कमीशन ने भी बोला था 41%. 16th फाइनेंस कमीशन हैज ऑल्सो केप्ट इट एट 41%. The concern comes with grants in aid. This grants in aid has actually reduced when it comes to 16th Finance Commission. How so? It says that the 15th Finance Commission departs sharply from this tradition. It recommends grants in aid only this much amount, whereas 15th Finance Commission has recommended this much amount. मतलब थोड़ा सा reduction है, but it is when it is considered in terms of grants in aid as overall share in the finance commission transfer, then it is more than half. So पहले 19% था, अब वो nearly 8%. तो कहने का मतलब कि जो grants in aid वाला स्कोप है वो reduce हो गया है फाइनेंस कमीशन 16 के रिकमेंडेशन से. बहुत अच्छी इंपॉर्टेंट पॉइंट्स हैं यहाँ पे आपको समझने की ज़रूरत है. Because UPSC has actually asked questions on this, that Finance Commission 15 recognize this reality by retaining Finance Commission ने revenue specific grants, sector specific grants and state specific grants का proposal दिया था. recommendations में उनके था. I guess in UPSC in 2012 or 13 has asked a question regarding 14th Finance Commission. I guess उस टाइम पूछा गया था कि whether they have recommended state sector specific grants or not. तो उस केस में आपको पता होना चाहिए कि फाइनेंस कमीशन 15 हैज रिकमेंडेड अ लॉट ऑफ ग्रांट्स, बट द 16th फाइनेंस कमीशन restricted the grants in aid to local bodies and disaster management and eliminates revenue deficit grants, sector specific grants and state specific grants. So there are three kinds of grants. कौन कौन से? Revenue deficit grants, then it is sector specific, and then it is state specific. This article suggests that these have been eliminated, removed from the recommendations of finance commission. मतलब अब तक अगर स्टेट गवर्नमेंट्स जो है, स्टेट्स जो है सेंट्रल गवर्नमेंट की तरफ से ग्रांट्स पा रहे थे बेस्ड ऑन द बेसिस ऑफ दीज कैटेगरीज, अब उनको नहीं मिलेगा. दे विल गेट ग्रांट्स ओनली ऑन द बेसिस ऑफ ऑन अकाउंट ऑफ लोकल बॉडीज एंड डिजास्टर मैनेजमेंट. सिर्फ यही दो ग्रांट्स जो हैं विल आर नाउ अवेलेबल. अब यहाँ पे समझने की बात है कि अल्टीमेटली इससे हो क्या रहा है कि इट विल रिड्यूस द फाइनेंशियल रिसोर्सेज अवेलेबल टू द स्टेट गवर्नमेंट्स, बिकॉज पहले इन सब के अकाउंट में ही पैसे मिलते थे, अब उन्हें नहीं मिलेंगे. अब यहाँ पे समझने वाली आपको बात क्या है, यू शुड अंडरस्टैंड व्हाट इज रेवेन्यू डेफिसिट ग्रांट. क्या होता है रेवेन्यू डेफिसिट ग्रांट? आप रेवेन्यू डेफिसिट ग्रांट को ऐसे समझें, रेवेन्यू डेफिसिट लाइक एक्सपेंडिचर इज मोर देन रेवेन्यू. एक्सपेंडिचर इज more than revenue. Suppose कीजिए कि the state government has a revenue of 100 rupees, but its expenditure is 120 rupees. That means the RDG is rupees 20. है ना, रेवेन्यू डेफिसिट लेवल पे, रेवेन्यू लेवल पे डेफिसिट आ गया स्टेट गवर्नमेंट में. अब तक क्या केस था कि स्टेट गवर्नमेंट्स वेयर प्रोवाइडेड RDG of this ₹20 by the central government. मतलब इतना assistance was coming by central government. Now this has been eliminated. Eliminate होने से क्या है, ये स्कोप जो है स्टेट्स का वो कम गया. Now why this Finance Commission, why this 16th Finance Commission has like reduced it, removed it. So it says that there is a moral hazard by incentivizing states to underperform in revenue mobilization or overspending expectation of central support. एक moral hazard है कि भाई साहब, if central government keeps supporting the states, there are chances that states will not spend frugally, they will do over expenditure, there will not be fiscal discipline. इसलिए based on these arguments, Finance Commission has totally eliminated revenue deficit grant. अब ये fact आपके लिए बहुत important है. Prelims can also be question can also be framed on this. Simple सा एक statement आपको दिया जा सकता है, revenue deficit grants are being recommended by the 16th Finance Commission. It will become incorrect statement. इसलिए आपके लिए important है. Now this we will. What the argument being given over here is that the author provide is that not all deficits arise because of poor governance. You are simply eliminating revenue deficit grants, considering that states might not be having a physically disciplined system. But the argument here is that not all deficits arise because of poor governance. If you cannot think that their states might be in fiscal distress, so there are interstate disparities, some states remaining physically stressed despite contributing, and purpose of RDG was to recognize this heterogeneity. The fiscal surplus in one state cannot offset the fiscal deficit in other. So some states are face geographical disadvantages. Some states have demographic pressures, some have historical constraints, some have high infrastructure cost, some have strategic responsibilities, for example the border states. So there are structural disadvantages. Term here is structural disadvantages, and these structural disadvantages need to be recognized. Therefore, removing the revenue deficit grants may unfairly penalize such states. So कहने का मतलब है कि ground reality जो है ना उसको आपको consider करना चाहिए. So this is their argument. You may take it, you may agree with it, or you can simply oppose. So this is one of the basic highlights of this article pertaining to revenue deficit grants. Another important issue over here is that there is a reduction in weights assigned to income distance and the introduction of 10% weight to contribution of GDP. There is also emphasis on tied and performance-based grants, particularly for local governments. So we have seen here that local bodies ko jo grants ka system that has been continued, but the catch here is that this is being promoted on the ground of performance-based grants. That means if the local bodies are performing properly, then they will be given these grants. It further talks the commission places actually greater emphasis on grants linked to performance. Local bodies को grants मिलेंगे तो उनके performance पे. How this performance can be calculated? Based on audited accounts, whether the accounts are audited or not, based on revenue mobilization, to what extent the local bodies are able to mobilize resources on them by themselves and not dependent on the state government. To what extent, what is the level of water supply and sanitation, whether they are able to handle these basic services or not. अच्छी बात है ना, अगर आप उनको पैसे देते जा रहे हो and they are not able to perform properly, they are not able to audit their accounts properly, तो उससे तो corruption वगैरह के chances बढ़ जाएंगे. So based on these arguments, based on these criteria, based on these conditions, local bodies के performance grants को जो local bodies को जो grants दिया जा रहा है, they have been emphasized based on performance के आधार पे उनको grants देंगे. So the objective is to encourage accountability, better governance and efficient public spending. But the it says that though the objectives are genuine, but still these grants are very stringent. And linking to release of funds, target in water sanitary, बहुत stringent है. And this promotes accountability, no doubt, but it also reduces fiscal autonomy. तो इस तरीके के arguments आप थोड़ा सा ignore करके चलें, because उनका ये इन ऑथर्स को ये लगता है कि भाई फिजिकल ऑटोनॉमी रिड्यूस हो जाएगी. बट यू शुड ऑल्सो कंसिडर ना दैट अकाउंटेबिलिटी इज ऑल्सो इंपॉर्टेंट. सेंट्रल गवर्नमेंट लाइक कैन नॉट कीप रिलीजिंग फंड्स in the name of development by the local bodies. Local bodies should also perform, because there is a hell lot of corruption at the local bodies. Then there is, as we understood over here, there is income distance. अभी एक अच्छा सा टर्म है income distance. Income distance you can define like it actually measures how far a state's per capita income is below that of the richest state. So suppose here is the richest state. For example, take the example of Tamil Nadu. Tamil Nadu is considered a very well administered state. इनके पास revenue वगैरह बहुत strong है. And take another state like called Chhattisgarh, right? Comparatively on a poorer side. Now this Tamil Nadu, there is the per capita income level pay. If we calculate on the basis of per capita income of Tamil Nadu, for example, consider on higher side, और जो difference है तमिलनाडु और छत्तीसगढ़ में, that is being called as income distance. A larger income distance generally results in a larger share of devolution, because poorer states receive greater weight, right? And this article notes that the weight assigned to income distance has been reduced from 42.5% to 10%. कहने का मतलब इनकम डिस्टेंस के बेसिस पे भी जो हम ग्रांट्स दे रहे थे उसको भी हमने रिड्यूस कर दिया है. And then it talks about GDP contribution criterion. It introduces a 10% weight for the contribution of GDP. Introduction. The core word here, very important word here is introduction. अब यहाँ से आपके प्रीलिम्स का क्वेश्चन बन जाएगा. UPSC will give you 4 statements and it will ask which have been introduced by the Finance Commission for the first time. और उसमें एक ऑप्शन रहेगा 10% weight for contribution to GDP. ये पहली बार ऐसा हुआ because it has been introduced लिखा हुआ है यहाँ पे. तो फर्स्ट टाइम जो है हाउ मच स्टेट्स आर कंट्रीब्यूटिंग टू द ओवरऑल नेशनल GDP, उसके रैशनल के बेसिस पे भी स्टेट्स विल बी रिकॉग्नाइज्ड लाइक दोज हु आर कंट्रीब्यूटिंग मोर टू द नेशनल इकोनॉमिक डेवलपमेंट, दे विल बी लाइक गिवन मोर फेवर. सो दीज आर दी बेसिक थिंग्स टू बी अंडरस्टूड ओवर हियर. रेवेन्यू डेफिसिट ग्रांट्स हमने देखा, परफॉर्मेंस बेस्ड जो ग्रांट्स हैं वो देखा, एंड प्लस 2 मोर वी हैव सीन. टू समराइज दिस एंटायर आर्टिकल, सुनने में आपको थोड़ा सा लेंदी लग सकता है, मतलब अब तक आपको लगा होगा. टू समराइज द ओवरऑल डिस्कशन हियर इज ऑफ एफिशिएंसी वर्सेस इक्विटी. दिस इज द ओवरऑल आर्गुमेंट. कोर जो है पूरे आर्टिकल का उसी के अराउंड रिवॉल्व कर रहा है. वेदर द फाइनेंस कमीशन शुड प्रमोट एफिशिएंसी और वेदर इट शुड प्रमोट इक्विटी. अब एफिशिएंसी अप्रोच क्या कहता है भाई? इट विल से दैट यू शुड रिवॉर्ड गुड फिजिकल मैनेजमेंट, राइट? अगर स्टेट गवर्नमेंट्स आर मैनेजिंग देयर फिजिकल अकाउंट्स प्रॉपरली, इट शुड बी रिवॉर्डेड. अगर रिवॉर्ड करेंगे तो एफिशिएंसी विल इम्प्रूव. बट इक्विटी एस्पेक्ट क्या कहता है कि देयर आर डिसएडवांटेज्ड स्टेट्स एंड दोज स्टेट्स नीड सपोर्ट. फेयर इनफ. एक आर्गुमेंट क्या कहता है भाई इसमें कि रेवेन्यू मोबिलाइजेशन को encourage करना. If the efficiency at the fiscal level for the states will increase, it will improve the revenue mobilization of the states. They can mobilize revenue more for themselves. But the concern again for equity is like there are regional disparities. You cannot expect a Maoist infested state like Chhattisgarh to perform equally well like a state called Gujarat. You cannot consider that. You cannot consider that the Himalayan states, like for example consider the states of Tripura or Meghalaya, to perform equally well as a plain state like Uttar Pradesh or Madhya Pradesh. So it is like there are regional disparities and you cannot simply You cannot simply ignore this equity aspect. So these are like, this is actually the basic core overall, you can say, crux of this article. Now we will move to our another article that is about गिर लायंस, एशियाटिक लायंस. ज़्यादा इस पे काम की चीज़ हम देख लेंगे, ज़्यादा कुछ है नहीं इसमें वैसे, बट स्टिल वी नीड टू अंडरस्टैंड सम core concepts, core ideas. For example, this article is not about proposed mining project. मतलब एक mining project यहाँ पे discuss किया गया, but this is not about merely a mining project. It actually talks about a much larger conservation question. So, like, should economic activities such as mining be permitted in ecologically important wildlife corridors that sustain the long-term survival of Asiatic lions? So you should know that these Asiatic lions, these are like only found in the Gir region of Gujarat. This is the very basic thing. So the whatever the developmental activities, economic activities, if you are trying to or planning to take in this region, you should be considerate that to what extent it is going to negatively impact the existence of the Gir lions. So the core argument of this article is basically three. First is that Asiatic lions have actually moved, earlier the Asiatic lions have actually like moved from Gir National Park and Sanctuary to the semi-arid land nearby areas mein they have actually moved. So actually they are, suppose this is Gir region. यहाँ पे Asiatic lions have a very good population. Because of the lot of very good conservation efforts, the population has increased. So whenever a population increased in the core area, the wildlife starts migrating, starts dispersing to the outer region, and it may settle in some grasslands, it may settle in some like coastal regions, hilly regions. They will start dispersing, and they will maintain this corridor of movement through and from, like this is satellite region and this is the core region. So they will maintain this corridor. So this argument says that till now conservation of Gir Asiatic lions has been focused on protecting this core region. This article says that now you should focus on the overall landscape based conservation approach. So this is landscape based conservation approach. It says that now it is needed to focus like that. You cannot mere just focus on the Gir region and you can like start economic activities on the surrounding region. No, you cannot do that, because the Gir lions have actually started to dispersing in the surrounding regions. If you start doing this economic activities unregulated in these surrounding regions, ultimately the population of Gir lions will again get impacted. So argument is that merely conserving only the Gir region is not sufficient. Conservation is no longer confined to one national park. We must focus on the entire landscape. This is the very core argument. And if you take it this way, UPSC may ask you questions in mains also. Like they will give you a question like something like which one is more important in context of India, national park based conservation or like landscape based system, or considered this way, like India's traditional conservation approach has been to set up protected areas. Do you think that this approach needs to shift from protecting a particular national protected area to the entire landscape critically examined? Simple सा आपसे दे दिया गया है कि जो evolving condition है, क्या required है कि हम जो अब तक जो protected area based जो conservation approach हमारा था, we need to focus it from shift to landscape based. लैंडस्केप बेस्ड अप्रोच हमें जाना चाहिए. अब इसके क्या प्रोज एंड कॉन्स है, इसके ऊपर क्वेश्चन कैन बी फ्रेम्ड. सो दैट्स व्हाई आई पिक दिस आर्टिकल टुडे. अदर देन दैट दिस आर्टिकल में कुछ कंसर्न्स है जो आपको ऑलरेडी पता होंगे. कंसर्न्स है कि भाई इकोनॉमिक एक्टिविटीज इफ यू गो ऑन रेगुलेटेड तो इट विल इम्पैक्ट, इट विल लीड टू हैबिटेट लॉस, इट विल लीड टू पॉल्यूशन. दोज आर लाइक वेरी बेसिक जेन्युइन कंसर्न्स, नो डाउट. Other than that, it also talks about like human-lion conflict. It also talks about like if the Gir lions remain confined to a particular area, and if a disease comes to hit them, then there is a threat that the entire Asiatic lion population can get vanished. And it actually gives the example also. There was a disease called canine distemper virus, CDV, and it killed nearly 20 Asiatic lions in 2018. It also talks about another disease called babesiosis, and it was reported very recently in May 2026. So the concern is that this Gir lion is like confined to a particular area, is very these are very vulnerable, because one disease can wipe the entire population. So you should focus on the landscape based approach. So this is one of the major positive arguments why our conservation approach should shift to land based approach. And it does not only apply to this Asiatic lion, it applies to other species as well. For example, you take the example of elephants, lions, so it applies to them as well. So this was the overall core argument of this article. Now we have a very small article that is also related to environment. That article actually talks about clouded leopards. Let me show you. So what has happened over here is that the Meghalaya government has initiated a scheme, you can say, a conservation plan, you can say, for the conservation of clouded leopards. So Meghalaya has launched a dedicated program of its state animal. तो समझ में एक चीज तो आ गई कि जो the mainland clouded leopard है, that is a state animal of Meghalaya. This is the one more very important fact. And it has unveiled a mission clouded leopard. The mission covers what are the overall objectives of the mission: habitat protection and restoration, scientific research, long-term monitoring, strong protection measures, landscape connectivity. See, here also landscape is coming. Capacity building of frontline staff, community participation, and public awareness. So these are the basic overall objectives, overall mechanisms of this mission called Mission Clouded Leopard, through which the Meghalayan government is planning or thinks or envisions to restore and protect and conserve the population of clouded leopards. And clouded leopards are a state animal of Meghalaya. The scientific name is Neophelis nebulosa, and these are vulnerable. So these are important. This is a very important, very small news article over here. You should also understand like what some basic features, basic information regarding this clouded leopard. The first basic, because UPSC में question यहीं से तो आते हैं, तो if we are talking about clouded leopard, so what are the basic distinguishing features? So it has a large cloud shaped markings, इसीलिए इनका नाम पड़ा clouded leopards. Cloud shaped markings on their body. They have an exceptionally long tail. पूंछें इनकी लंबी होती हैं. Very good climbing agility. So these can like climb trees. Then you have like canine teeth, very like large canine teeth. So this is regarded one of the best arboreal cats. Arboreal. UPSC can simply ask you question on this, because last I guess few years ago it has asked questions regarding squirrels. So clouded leopard, whether they are arboreal or not. अब यहाँ पे दिक्कत ये है कि you should know the meaning of arboreal. Arboreal means like they are tree climbing or like living on trees. They have this ability. So arboreal is a very good feature of this mainland clouded leopard. Now, why this Meghalaya is important? Why they are found in Meghalaya? This also you should understand. A very basic reason is that they have dense subtropical forests. Subtropical forest बहुत dense है वहाँ पे. Then they have something high rainfall, जिसकी वजह से वहाँ पे dense है. High rainfall. Terrain is rugged. and they have interconnected forest landscapes. Forest landscapes are interconnected. This is one of the very important features why clouded leopards are found in Meghalaya. So these are some of the basic 3 articles that we discussed.